Okay, I'm just want to go over a couple things with you about this annotated bibliography. First off, on the there's two different I did two different formats of it. One with a cover page, and then it's got the bibliography. Cover page has no page number on it. Then it's got a bibliography. It's got a page number at the bottom. But with the cover page one, I just put 50 Years of Silence, the extraordinary memoir, as that's not going to be the name of yours. It's you're going to have something, whatever. That's the name of your book, your memoir book. So that's what we're going to go with for this right now. If so, take these to your teacher and see which version she wants. One with a cover page, or the one without. It doesn't, see if she even cares. But anyway, remember this is Turabian, um, 8th edition that we're using. So remember, I gave you this thing, which was a like a small sheet that kind of goes with the formatting. And the weird thing about a lot of these different formats is like Turabian for the page numbers, you can go with four different versions of the page number. The page number at the bottom center, like I've got, you can have it flush to the right. I think you could have it in the upper right. You might even be able to have it in the upper center. I forget the headers. So they give you different options. It's just they say choose an option and stay consistent. So some of this stuff you'll see different videos where they're telling you one thing about Turabian and they're telling you another, and that's just because it's one of those things with the options. But one thing you should notice on this thing, especially this little checklist, it's got these pages. So you could look at some of these page numbers in Turabian, and you should, in case your teacher asks you any questions. So it doesn't look like, you just got this done for you. And a lot of that formatting stuff, like are in the page 370s, and it'll talk about it, and it'll show you like here's one cover page when it's just doing a class paper. Here's a cover page if you're doing a doctoral dissertation. And then it goes through. So you should look at these pages, the 370s and the 380s. That's how it should look like when you're doing a table of contents and so on. And it goes through some different. So go to the 370s, at least in the Turabian book, and just get familiar with just looking at those. And actually, in some of it, it actually changes page numbers, like the page numbers, like on table of contents, and stuff like that. The page number is supposed to be Roman numerals. We're on the actual, like the bibliography or the class paper. They're supposed to be Arabic, which is just standard, numbering. So make sure you look at this, and you're just look at these different pages on here. You don't have to memorize them, but it just talks about citation, footnotes, bibliography stuff, just so when you talk to her, you don't sound like you don't know what you're talking about. And then there's that other quick guide, the 2-page or 3-page thing that I sent you to, a quick guide to Turabian. Same type of thing, but you know, for the most part, like you're supposed to be double space, you're supposed to be times. You can actually choose different types of fonts, but Times Roman is one of them. It says you should be 12 or 14 point, which she wants 12. So in the Turabian book, or so it gives you different options, but most people seem to choose 12. So just kind of be familiar with that stuff. Okay, so getting back to this real quick. So there's two different versions I sent you. One's got a cover page, and the one that's got a cover page, there'll be a blank page for the second page, and that's just, it's hard to explain, but that has to be there so that the page numbers that I've got in the bibliography don't show up on those first couple pages. So just take the blank page out. But you'll notice that when you've got the cover sheet, then the bibliography has nothing except for the bibliography. Whereas on the other version where it's just one page, it's got your name, your professor, the history class, and all that stuff. So you just need to find out which version she wants. This one's got a page number at the bottom. Okay, so a couple quick things that kind of go over. There's the margins are 1 inch all the way around, except up top we've lowered this down to 2 inches, I think, because we've got to put this information up there. Now, when you're doing an annotated bibliography, or when you're doing the bibliography, remember the annotation is just this. And I think the precis is where you do the annotation in a certain type of format when they talk about that. But just quick things to point out. Like for instance, this is something from the Harvard Review, a journal, right? Okay, so notice, it's got her last name, comma, first name, period, and then it's got the name of the article, but it's just in straight, straight up lettering. It's not italicized, but the name of the journal is italicized. Then it's got, I think that's the edition, or that's the edition. One of these is the edition, one of these is something else. That's the date, obviously, and then these tell the pages. Okay, that's for a journal. And in the on her website, that there's that one link on the History 319 website to the Turabian website, and the Turabian website gives examples of different types of annotation too, on like a one-page thing. So you can always look at that too. But that's not it. Hang on a second. I just anyway, there's a that's her website that's got examples. Now this is a book. So notice that in a book, it's the last name, comma, first name, and then a period after the first name or a period after the initial. But notice how the name of the book is all in italics. So that's how they can tell whether it's a book or if it's a journal. And then it's got the city. Now, if it's a city like New York or Chicago, you don't have to put the state. If it's a city like Podunk, Alaska, you'd have to put Podunk because no one knows where that's at. And then Alaska, as I think Alaska's AK, you just use the two-letter abbreviation for it. So you only have to put the state when it's a city that people really don't know where it's at. Like Boston, you'd only have to put Boston, Los Angeles, etc. But Carlsbad, you'd probably have to put Carlsbad and then CA or Vista, CA, something like that. San Luis Obispo, CA, because not a lot of people know that where those places are outside of the state. Okay, so that's really important. And like I did one of the another thing to understand is these books have different publishers. So it just depends on the book that you have, which edition. So for instance, when I looked up this 50 Years of Silence, it's got this North Sydney, which is the location, and North New South Wales is the name of the state in Australia. And then this is the publisher. But if you look it up on different libraries, they've got different versions and different publishers. So you have to have your particular book's publisher right. And when I did eTurabian, that bibliography generator, the citation generator, it had 50 as 50. That's why I asked you what's on the book. So I would have gotten that wrong if I'd had that as 50. It's 50 Years of Silence written out, so I had to change that. So that's just a couple things to keep in mind. Also, um, you'll notice on which one of these, some of these you have to put um, quotation marks around, well, like this. Okay, this journal again, you put quotation marks around the name of the article, but see how it's got the colons? It starts out the politics of analogy, then it's got the colons, and then there's comfort women in if you look at the article, comfort women has quotation marks around it, but inside of here you put the commas, not the commas, the commas, reverse comma and the comma. So that kind of stuff's important in this, just so you understand that stuff. This is all right, justified, and so it's just some things like that that a journal. This is all unitalicized, and the name of the journal is italicized, whereas the book, and notice the book doesn't have any quotation marks around it like the journal's uh, article's title does. So those are just kind of things to be aware of. And where the book is all italicized, but the publisher's over here and it's not. All right. And so that Turabian website, that woman's website is something that she's got different. Well, they've got them on your website too for the Kennedy Library one, Turabian examples. But they also go to her website, and you remember it's like that orangish one where you can see it's like orangish like the book, and it's got different examples. So just things to keep aware of. And so ask your teacher if this is the title that she wants, okay? And see how I just wrote a sample annotation. It doesn't really even say anything. It just says I'm doing a sample. Make sure that this spacing, I know this is 1/2 inch now. I'm sure of that. And this is called a hanging indent because it's indented the first line. This is the actual citation for the bibliography, and this is the actual annotation. So make sure that she wants this annotation to line up like this. These I didn't do yet. I just did one sample annotation. Make sure that that's what she wants for the title, or does she want annotated bibliography, or what does she want? See if she wants it in this one-page format, or it might be two. It'll probably be 2 pages because you got to write annotation. But I mean, a format like this, or if she wants it in a format with the title page, and just kind of be aware of the differences the way you have to do these different annotations. And look at the book for those pages that are on that one sample sheet that I gave you. Look at those different pages in this book so you're familiar with them. And watch the video, the audio video of the book so you understand it. And look through this book so you don't sound like a dimwit when you're talking to her. That tell her you've got the book, and if she asks you, tell her that you've watched some YouTube videos on Turabium also, and you're not exactly sure, on some of this stuff, so that's why you wanted to check with her. Okay, that's about it for now.